Good morning, and welcome to our Career Hive podcast. Really looking forward to talking a lot about what's been happening in FutureMatch, where we're going, what we're all about. We'll do some really exciting insights because it's been a kind of massive, probably 5, 6 weeks from GCSE results, A-level results, to university starting, colleges, apprenticeships, T-levels, students moving up into GCSE year, into A-level year, all those type of things, sort of happening in the place, employers beginning to look at what they need to do to bring in the next cohort. It's been a pretty hectic few weeks. So I just thought we'll do this podcast based on covering all those different things. So let's just talk a little bit about FutureMatch, right? Because I think, it's important for us to just kind of share who we are. So in essence, what we are is a end-to-end hiring platform. So we work with organizations to enable them to basically attract, assess, select, and hire early careers talent. And we use our platform and we also use our expertise in terms of what organizations need to do to bring that talent on board and manage that talent to be successful in the roles they have. So in essence, think about us as this way. You're an organization, you have a number of key roles that you want to hire for, whether it's apprenticeships, whether it's graduates, whether it's post 2 to 3 years experience, and you're thinking we need to get volume, we need to get quality, and we need to do so as quickly as we can, effectively as we can, and efficiently as we can, then FutureMatch is the organization for you to give a call. We'll be more than happy to come in and look at what you're doing, how you're doing it, what can be done, and we use the platform to basically deliver the results that you're looking for. So that's a little bit about us. I think for us, people always ask me this question: what is your goal with FutureMatch? Our goal in FutureMatch is to do two things. First and foremost is to enable organizations to attract and recruit and hire the right talent, the right people, in the right roles, the right fit. That's crucial because for an organization to retain its talent, everything needs to match. But also the fact that with the challenges that are being faced across all industries, it's not just about recruiting talent for your particular organization, it's also about bringing talent in to your sector as well. So our format and our strategies around how do we help the organization achieve its objective, right talent in the right fit with in the right role and team and all that type of stuff fit into place, but also making sure that talent is fully aware of what those opportunities look like across that particular sector. And that's where the second part of what we're all about comes into play, which is how we're going to utilize the organizations we work with, the access that we have to careers, to pathways, to real understanding of what skills businesses are looking for. How do we use all that data and information to then inspire the aspirations of future talent? So I ideally want young people to be able to understand what a career looks like in renewable energy. What does a career look like in the banking and finance sector? What does a career look like in agriculture? What are the different options that I have in the tech space, right? And part and parcel of that is to ensure that they understand what a career looks like, what's involved, how to do that, access individuals and roles and companies, etc. And we're hoping that by doing that, we then drive the interest levels for the companies we're working for in the sectors that we're involved in, and hopefully we start to make a really good impact and dent into this challenge that we all face. So that's what it's all about. In terms of, if you look at it, for us, this has been something that we've been really interested in for a very, very long time. So those that don't know me, my background has been in talent acquisition recruitment. I had the joy of working both for Hayes and kind of developing my career through that. Went into database, went into executive search, and probably that's where the change started to come into play, because when you started work at senior level, you start to understand the challenges that are faced at that board level. So we look at it and you just go, right, I need to get bums on seats, we need to recruit this talent. But for senior level individuals and at that level of the C-suite per se table, the aim is, well, what do we need for tomorrow, right? And how are we getting ourselves prepared for tomorrow? And that's where my interest started to come into play, because from those conversations, it was then a case of, well, there must be something that can be done here to connect this really big dot together. So I successfully went in and we kind of set up my first startup, which is a careers education tech business. And that didn't go to where we wanted to go. So we decided, look, actually, you know what? let's look at something different, and I flipped the switch, and that's where FutureMatch came into play. So it's a case of let's work with organizations to support those organizations to achieve their objectives, and in doing so, we're going to gain access to a wide range of key information and contacts and access points that we can basically then take into the education setting and inspire future talent by helping them understand what it all looks like. So that's in essence what's been happening. Over the, when I founded the business just before lockdown, and we went through kind of all the different stages, landed on this fantastic name, this FutureMatch. We've just closed, we closed our part of 1/3 of our seed round, so we've got investment on board, and that's really kind of what we're using to kind of push what we're doing from a growth perspective. Fingers crossed, we've got a really, really exciting MVP customer coming on board where, everything about how they work, what they're looking to do, what they're looking to achieve over the next 3 years totally aligns with us and where we want to go and our expertise and what we're developing and what we're building. So please look out for that. Look out for that kind of announcement taking place. We've developed our product to a point whereby we've got the first phase of our MVP ready. We're busy developing the second phase. We've got a new website launching. The team is growing, so we're looking at probably appointing about 6 positions over the next 3 months, and we'll share more on our LinkedIn page of what those opportunities look like. But it'll be everything from sales, marketing, product, operations, and delivery. We're developing a really exciting pipeline. So we've got opportunities with organizations who really want to kind of recruit and hire big volumes of early careers talent. And they really love our ability to access this early career talent earlier than anyone else can. And then we've also got these opportunities of how we develop a product that will support early careers talent to understand what the world of opportunities look like. So there's a lot happening. We're really excited by it. We've got a great plan. The aim is that within the next 5 years we'll have transformed how early careers is attracted by companies, but most importantly we'll start to see a better quality of candidate coming into the marketplace with the clients we're working with, because they're able to inform and enlighten a lot more. The accessibility means that there's going to be more diverse talent pools available for our customers, because we're not just targeting one particular group, but we're looking at everything from diversity of mind, thought, and how everyone looks at things. We're hoping that our process will be more effective and more efficient, because we'll be able to work with a company not just based on what they need today, but being able to predict and look at what tomorrow looks like as well, and how we start to evolve and develop our strategies to ensure that those skill gaps are covered as well. So it's a really exciting space. It's something that I'm really passionate about, in FutureMatch is what it says on the tin, right? It's about matching future talent with organizations in the right role, the right fit, and the right company, but also how do we inspire future talent to be able to understand the exciting world of careers that are ahead of them. So as I mentioned at the top of the podcast and the intro stage, there's a lot that's been happening, right, over the last kind of 6 weeks. So when we last had the last podcast, I think we did something on GCSE and A-level results. Things have moved on, right? Summer is definitely out. The bell has gone. We're into that. We're probably about 2 to 3 weeks away from half term. So that shows us we're right in that halfway point. So we thought we would be in a really good chance to kind of do a bit of a recap. So in terms of, let's look at the journeys that have been taking place. You've got GCSE students now going into their final year of GCSEs. The same thing with A-level students. You've got different apprenticeships started. We've got T levels that have started. We've got young people going into universities. They've kind of started. And then we've got those going into college that have started as well. And, there's a mixture of emotions. And I can talk about it from personal experience. I've got my son who's doing his GCSEs this year. There's that pressure to say, wow, I know it's a big year. I feel like it's a big year. I'm going to be expected to do a little bit more. So there's a feeling of sort of a bit of, I wouldn't call it kind of panic, but there's that kind of, that bit of that tension, right? That kind of nervousness, that kind of, oh my God, what does this mean? And I think this is exciting. We had a really good conversation about this. And I talked about the fact that, it's not about it ever getting easier. It's how good you get at handling the hard bits that it's going to become, right? So, yes, you do your GCSEs. A-levels are harder, but in essence, when you do your GCSEs, you have 9 subjects, 10 subjects. At A-levels, you have 3 subjects. You're treated a little bit differently. So yes, it's harder because the content and what you need to do is more, and everything else about that. But however, you've also matured yourself, so you can handle a bit more. I think that's the key thing. And the same thing happens with A-level students, where they're starting, one of the things we're starting to look at is what does sixth form look like? What are your different pathways? What are your different options? And we're looking at everything, right? The same thing will be happening to A-level students now. They'll be thinking, what, do I really want to go to university? Is that the choice that I've made? If I look at degree apprenticeships, what does that look like? How do I access those? So again, we're going into that kind of stage where I know it's a big year. I know I've got my A-level results, but I also know it's a big year because I've got this big transitional journey to make as well. So there's that kind of trepidation coming into play. And when you consider, I go back to the fact that I would say the last 2 to 3 years have probably been, if I'm going to understate it, the hardest you can imagine, even harder for young people in these roles, because as I said, we've got a group who are first year A-level students who didn't actually sit the GCSEs. They were assessed, if I'm correct, based on their mock exams. Then you've got a group who are now doing A-levels who definitely didn't even have mock exams for them to be assessed on. So there had to be a whole new assessment process. And then you've got the next cohort coming in who'll be kind of first year A-level students now, whereby they were kind of getting into this hybrid situation where there's a bit more understanding of what needs to happen, and therefore, yes, there's an exam in place, but the preparation, the pre-work we do is going to be different from what we do. And I'm hearing there's probably going to be the same thing for this year group coming in now. So you probably got 4 to 5 years of pipeline of it is disrupted by what happened in COVID, and there's going to be an impact on all those type of things. So I think there's a kind of a key thing about how that group will be feeling. Then you've got that same group whereby they've obviously, then you've got A-level students or university graduates who kind of graduated 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and the job market wasn't where they thought it'd be, the pandemic and all that type of stuff, companies being busy focusing on what we need to just do to stay in business and what does this whole new world look like, to now kind of saying, okay, we now want to look at bringing new talent on board, and that future talent being 2 or 3 years on from when they did their degree qualification and graduated, to them actually thinking, I've been doing this job or this role to kind of be in work, and now I'm going to look at what I want to do next. So we've got a lot of calls that we take, and I take them personally, or people that I know, where that's the kind of thought process. Like, I graduated 2 years ago. The job market wasn't where it needs to be. I'm really keen to kind of get into my first career. What can I do? What does the market look like, etc. And then you've also got those that are going to come through the groups over the next 2 years. So I think there's a mixture of, I personally think there's an excitement, right? So every time we talk to a group and we talk about young people and we talk about opportunities and we start to talk to them about the companies that we're working with, the companies that we're engaging with, what we know, I tell you this now, the excitement that comes out is unbelievable, because they didn't think that any of those roles or any of those companies were even a possibility, but they are, because they're in the press, right? So, you look at Deloitte, and I think they're looking to recruit something like between 2,000 to 3,000 people. If you look at a big percentage, 20% of their budget is on early careers plus. So that gives an indication of where businesses are looking to go right now. So, it's a big thing. I think the major challenges and roadblocks they're facing is, you've got a period whereby you've got a group and, they've kind of left home, done their A-levels. Now they're doing first year of uni. As I said, they never had the pressure of real exams. They've had a disrupted 2 years of A-levels, and now they're in this big environment that's university, away from home, away from family. And believe me, I know they're having a great week, a Freshers Week, right? But now the hard work begins to kick into play. Lectures, I believe, are starting to cover this week, next week, and all that type of stuff. And now that kind of grounding now comes into play. So, there's going to be roadblocks, right? And some of the roadblocks you got to come over is, look, there's a bit of homesickness. If you're in uni, is this the right course I've taken? Am I really sure this is what I want to do? I'm not enjoying it. I'm not enjoying being with my housemates. Whatever that is, there's going to be things that are going to come into play. I look at the A-level group starting now. It's like, well, what am I going to do next, right? Because I know I'm going to study for these exams, but what am I going to do next, right? What does that look like? What's my degree options? Is that really what I want to do? Is it not a degree apprenticeship I want to get involved with? So there's all of those kind of things. Those are challenges going through your head, and you're going to get those obstacles. Sorry, we don't know much about degree apprenticeships as a school, as a college. We don't really have the connections you're looking for in businesses. All those things are going to be obstacles you're going to have to overcome, right? So you're going to face these, and you're going to have to overcome those. If you look if I go back below to the GCSE student, the same thing again. It's like, oh my gosh, I've got to do all these A levels, but the GCSEs, but I'm not sure I want to do A levels, but I know I've got to stay in education. But what are T levels? What are apprenticeships? What do I need to do? Oh, okay, I'm connecting the dots as to why I need to have all these grades, and then it's what happens next. So there's a lot of kind of I guess challenges and obstacles that come in all mixed together in terms of what they're doing. What I would say to anybody in that journey is, it is okay to start thinking about your career talent, right? Think about your career pathway, right? Think about what you like to do. We're actually having this debate over dinner with a friend yesterday, and we were talking about the fact that one of their friends' kids isn't sure whether they want to do what they thought they were going to do, right? And I said, look, that's okay as well, because we're asking young people to make a decision at 16 about what their career pathway needs to look like. And that's impossible, right? That's really hard. There's a small group who know what they want to do, but what's going to happen, there's a lot of flux that's going to happen, right? A lot of things are going to go up and down. The key thing to do is to support that group, right? How do we support them to get to that point? A conversation I had with my son is, look, you know what? These are your pathways, these are your routes. Whatever happens, it's important that we get as good a results as we can, because then the routes that you want will open up a lot easier and a lot more defined. So yeah, I definitely say anybody at any stage of your career, always be thinking about, what do I want to do as a career? And use this time to find as much information as you can about that career. And yes, it's really hard to get the real taste and real feel. It is until FutureMatch come up with the solution that we're working on. But at the moment, to try and get that feel of what it means, it's really, really difficult. So all you can really go by is your own research, right? Research the company, the ethos, what they stand for, the opportunities, their plan, their growth, and you get all that information on their website, predominantly, especially if they're on the larger side of organizations. And then it's a case of, once you know that, it's about engaging, right? Talk to as many people as you can, and engage around what you're looking to do, and look, thinking about it doesn't mean you have to do it, right? There's many other things that kind of take place in this kind of journey. So what I would say is, never too early to think about your next step. Nothing wrong with planning what that next step looks like. There's nothing wrong with engaging with people within that next step, because all you want to do is understand, know, and be aware as much as you can about the exciting world of opportunities out there. And I flip this to businesses, right? So some of the organizations that we're talking to right now, one of the things I talk about a lot is, what is your employer brand, right? What is your attraction strategy? How are you selling who you are to a group whereby you really want to get the best, right? So, because you're still telling me that you're getting thousands and thousands of CVs, but they're not the quality you're looking for, and you feel like you're compromising. So how are you as organizations going to participate in the change of what needs to happen? I think there's a lot to be done, right? I think I know a lot of organizations are doing this. How do I engage in my school, my colleges, my unis? I get that, and that's really hard to do, because in schools they have a very straight line process of who and what happens next. And outside of that, universities, you're looking at it. It's about you're competing with 3 or 4 other organizations in that mix. So I think for businesses is, have a plan of what you're looking to bring in. Start engaging with that talent pool really, really early. Take advantage, because over the next 2 to 3 weeks, there's going to be young people who are going to decide they don't want to go to uni, who've got really, really good grades, but are not happy about continuing at uni. As an organization, that is a talent pool you want to be engaging with right now. Bring that talent pool, if you can, forward, and all of a sudden you've got a really group of motivated, enthused early career talent in play. And of course, the more you can shout about your career pathways, your career routes, and not just talk superficially about, joining us is the most exciting thing, is the best thing. It's actually, why would I want to join your organization? What would it mean for me to be part of your organization? When would you like me to be part of your organization? How do you see me being in your organization? Where and when? Yeah. So it's answering all those questions and wrapping that around your kind of FutureMatch or early careers strategy. And I say to business as well, I don't know, I think some organization we talk to, they have a very structured intake, which is absolutely correct, because you're looking for, let's get a core team together and let's work with our core through the process. What I will say is that it might be an idea to have 2 to 3 intakes in the year, because that way, if you do your first intake in September, October, you're going to get what I call the really diligent students who kind of made their mind they want to do apprenticeships or been advised and given the right guidance, and they're going to that kind of field and they want to kind of get involved in your organization. But if you did another intake around January, February time, what you're then picking up is the cohort who have wanted to go to uni, yes, 100%, but actually thought they wanted to do apprenticeship. They've now realized what it looks like, don't like the vibe they're getting from being in a student. You've got a really, really, really good chance of picking up that talent pool as well, right? Because that means that instead of having one intake per year, then you're missing out on this group, you've got a chance to kind of mop up some of the other group. And the third phase is always that phase that happens kind of, as they come to the end of term, as they start to go on their summer holidays, as you're trying to bring them in for your next first cohort. So it's trying to get, as I said, 2 to 3 cohorts in per year, key strategic times, so you can identify not only the talent that is within your talent pool pipeline, but also to bring in another additional talent pipeline going forward as well. So I think those are my key takeaways. Young people in your journey, be excited. There's a world of opportunities, right? There's businesses recruiting left, right, and center. We're having so many dynamic conversations, so many positive conversations about how we can help organizations. And if organizations are asking us for that help, that means for you, early careers talent, there's a huge opportunity ahead. For businesses, look, there's a talent out there that's really interested in what you do, really interested in your sector. You just need to go out and attract them, right? You need to engage with them, you need to nurture them, and you need to kind of bring them through with the mindset that says, this is not just for us as a company, but it's for us as a sector, right? That's the key thing, is kind of bring that sector mindset into play to think, well, if we bring in 1,000 and company XY only bought 500, but those 500 are absolutely solid, it's okay for that deficit to happen between the two, right? So that's, the kind of where we are right now, right? So as I said, really exciting opportunities across the board, really exciting opportunities. And so hopefully you find this really helpful, right? And if not, please always drop us a line, or DM us on our LinkedIn. I think we've got Instagram going live and all that type of stuff. So it's really, really exciting times for us. If that means it's definitely exciting times for you, tomorrow's talent. And for organizations, hey, look, we know there's a skill shortage, right? We know how hard it is to kind of bring the right talent into our organization. But you know what? Have a plan. Let's work on that plan. Yes, you might have to move to the left and move to the right a little bit, but make that plan as broad as possible, right? Make your talent pool requirements as wide as you possibly can think about, and invest the time and the money. And if not, come and talk to us, and we're more than happy to build a solution around achieving your objectives as well. Okay, so thank you very, very much, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next podcast. Thank you.